In this video, I would show you what I would do fresh out of the GI doctor's office after being diagnosed with Crohn's, IBS, colitis, diverticulitis. You come out of that doctor's office and they really don't tell you much. They tell you it's incurable, you're going to have to be on drugs for the rest of your life, diet doesn't matter, we don't know the root cause, we aren't looking. You just feel completely lost. You go online, they tell you you can't eat gluten, you can't have dairy, you can't have this, you can't have that. What direction, what's the best way to go? I've gone down every path, and most of them are wrong. 90% of them are wrong and just a complete waste of time, money, calories, and precious effort. And a lot of these paths will actually make things much worse. So I'm literally gonna show you what I would do fresh out of the doctor's office if I had a time machine, and I would grab myself and I would say, don't listen to that idiot. And myself back then would have been like, yeah, this guy's a freaking idiot. I can't believe he literally didn't tell me anything except for you're gonna have to be on drugs for the rest of your life and we don't know what we're doing. And I went to the other GI doctors. They said the exact same thing the first guy said. I don't know. All I know how to do is prescribe drugs. That's all I know how to do. So, all right. So the first thing I would tell myself is to go get my program, or at least go watch my free webinar. And I'm gonna give you like I'm gonna give you like the quick version of that. Okay, essentially. But that didn't exist back then. So the first thing I would teach him is, or I would tell him, or explain to teach him, or tell him to go do, is to learn German New Medicine. How can I learn German New Medicine? How can I learn a pill? So German New Medicine isn't a pill. It's a different way of thinking about how your health works. Think about like allopathic medicine is like, okay, the way you treat disease is you shove a bunch of drugs down somebody's throat. Like that's like the theory behind allopathic medicine. Germ theory is, oh, germs cause disease. Toxicity theory, oh, toxicity causes disease. German New Medicine doesn't go off of theories, it goes off of the 5 biological laws that Dr. Hammer observed. So essentially, to make it, there's a few videos online that go over what these 5 biological laws, but it totally flips your whole world upside down on how disease operates in the body, because the rest of the world thinks it's genetic, a nutritional deficiency. Nutritional deficiencies do cause issues in the body, but they clear up super fast. If somebody has scurvy, you give them vitamin C, they're feeling better like the next day. Not the case with Crohn's disease or colitis. You start feeding them, you give them all the nutrients that they need and they're still going to have symptoms. Genetic, nutritional deficiencies. Some people think it's toxicity, mold toxicity. Oh, I've been exposed to too many EMFs. They think it's the gut microbiome. Oh, I didn't take enough probiotics. Oh, the antibiotics messed up my gut. Those are the theories that we're working with. And German New Medicine disproves all of them. So a disease, we now call a significant biological special program. Every organ has a survival purpose. So when we experience a conflict shock, something stressful that catches us off guard, our brain, our psyche, which is main job is to help us survive and thrive, it's going to make a split-second decision and put an organ into overdrive. Dr. Hammer could look at your brain CT scan and know exactly what issues, what diseases you had. Diseases which significant biological special programs were on. When I saw the brain CT scans on the German New Medicine literature on learninggermannewmedicine.com and in the books, I was like, wow, they can see this disease, these significant biological special programs on a brain CT scan. It's all mapped out, and I got my CT scan done, and right where there was supposed to be, these rings, sure enough, right, that's where they were, right where they were supposed to be. And so what we need to do is, one, you need to learn German New Medicine. That is the first thing you need to do. One, learn German New Medicine. That is the first thing you need to do. And there's not a lot of books. The first thing you're going to do is going to go on Amazon and try to buy a bunch of books about it. There's really not many good books out there. Go to learninggnm.com. That is the best place to learn, and then there's other people on YouTube talking about it. Those are your two best places to learn. Just start to go do that. Watch the videos on my channel, and I slowly drip feed you this new perspective on looking at your health. So, there we go. Start learning German New Medicine. It is a process. Your brain cannot change on a dime like this. You have so many beliefs that have been programmed into you through TV shows and doctors and commercials and books and teachers at school and friends and family. It takes a while for your brain to see this new perspective. Start learning German New Medicine. It will serve you every single day for the rest of your life. Second is to make a timeline. Make a timeline. I'm sorry for my bad setup right now. I'm currently moving. I should be in my new house within the next couple of days. I have a big whiteboard right over there, and I'll have nice lights and all that stuff set up. Throw that away. All right, I got a good one right here. I just want to get something out to you guys to help you out. So make a timeline. Oh, there was nothing. Shut up. Just do it. Just do it. And don't try to sit there and, what was stressful happening? The conscious mind is so limited, it's obnoxious. It can only juggle 7 pieces of information at once. And that's if you are Stephen Hawking. Maybe he can do 8. But the vast majority of you can only focus on one thing. Most people, even successful people, can only focus on one thing at a time, too. And, their logic. Like, I remember when I was going to driver's school, and he was like testing your reaction time. He would drop this thing and you'd have to grab it, right? And if you were talking about something, like your reaction speed like greatly decreased. So we need to make a timeline first, okay? Timeline. And I like to do this in a Word document so that you can organize this better. But doing it both ways serves us very well. So, okay. Flare. This was the time I was stuck in bed for a whole week. Now, this happens at the conflict resolution. I'm going to teach you like a little bit of German New Medicine while we make this timeline. So, 1 week. And guys, this isn't crazy talk. Dr. Burrell Crohn's, the guy who discovered Crohn's disease, and all the old books before the 1950s, before Big Pharma took over, they all knew it was caused by stress. And they even said, yeah, sometimes they won't fess up to that they were stressed out. But then the whatever family member carded them in is like, yeah, he's getting over a breakup. Yeah, they just did intimate domain over their house. He lost his house, and they built a parking lot over his house. He's pretty depressed about it. So 1 week, I had a 1 week flare. I think it was back in like 2016. This was like my worst flare ever. I'm a unique case because I had digestive issues, but I'm going to try to I had digestive issues like most of my life, but they didn't get serious until when I started graduating college. So 2016, I had the worst flare ever. When was it? It was in the winter. Okay, I was working. Work wasn't stressing me out. You know, I wasn't in school. Ooh, I had a girlfriend. And I was super stressed out in this relationship. And leading up to the flare, so for like 3 months before that, we had moved in together. You know, she moved in over here somewhere. And then about 3 months before my flare, we were going to break up. But I couldn't get her out of the house because she was waiting for a job to come through. So we were like living together in the same room, sleeping in the same bed, and like fighting all the time. Like I didn't want to come home from work. It was just an absolute, it was just not a good situation. Now, the flare happened when we went on vacation to my parents' house for Christmas. And she wasn't supposed to come, but she I don't know how, she somehow convinced me to let her come on the trip. And when we got there, or like on the car ride there, we kind of agreed to put our differences aside and to just like enjoy the week. So we were getting along. We weren't fighting. And literally 2 days into this trip, 2 days into this trip, you know, I think my brain made this switch of like, oh, okay, this is going to be a good weekend and we're not fighting. And she was also out of my house, you know, figuratively. And I had the worst flare ever, ever. So bad. I was very close to going to the hospital, but like puking, diarrhea, gut pain, couldn't keep anything down. I was just in bed for a straight week on, you know, the one vacation a year that I had at the time. So that's what caused it. It was that. It put my gut into overdrive. It put my colon into overdrive. What is crap I want to get rid of, but I can't? This girl. I want to get rid of her, but I can't. If it's colitis, it's what do I want to get rid of, but I can't. If you're constipated, what do I want to hold on to, but I can't. If it's Crohn's, it's what do I want to absorb and digest, but I can't. And that thing for most people is usually money, because with money you can buy anything, or a partner, like a romantic partner or a friend, because you can't buy them with friends, but money makes that a lot easier a lot of the times. So start framing, like this was very straightforward for me, at least on this part. It was like, the girl was the thing I wanted to get rid of, but I couldn't. And anytime I felt like I really wanted to get rid of her, when she was like yelling at me and I really wanted to get rid of her, but I couldn't, you know, my symptoms would start to act up. So okay, that's the conflict. Me fighting with her. What was the conflict shock? What was the shocking moment where where my gut said, "Oh boy, we need to we need to get rid of her now." And for me, the one thing I can, you know, there was a couple of events in there, but the one event that I really remember is I came home from work one day and I had lost my voice somehow. I forgot how I lost my voice. And I literally could not talk. It was after work, you know, I didn't want to talk to anybody. You know, my roommates were home, so I kind of said hi to them because I hadn't seen them in a while. And then I got up into my room, which we shared, and she was like, "I heard you talking to your roommates and you won't talk to me." And I was like, "Oh my God." And I remember I got into the bed and I put the covers over the sheets over my head, the covers over my head. And I just heard her scream. And I think that's when I was like, ugh. Like, I want to get rid of you, but I can't. So what are some things that could remind me of the conflict? a woman talking to me that I don't want. I don't. I don't want to hear it. I want to get rid of. I don't want to talk. Or getting into bed. Oh, we're in bed. We're in bed. Someone might yell at us. Going into the room. What are the subconscious reminders of the conflict shock? Not of the conflict, of the conflict shock. Another shock that I had with the same person is she went on a date with another guy, and they had cappuccinos together. And for a long time, like, I could have coffee and milk and mix the two and everything was fine. Cappuccino, instant diarrhea. Until I realized the connection. We got into a fight over her having a cappuccino with this guy, and I think he posted pictures about it, and she didn't even know. But like, making these, it's a subconscious thing. People think it's like a psychological thing. Oh, I'm traumatized from this relationship and I need to go get therapy. That could help, but more of it is just really having these aha moments of, so now that we have this timeline, the next thing, I would do, and what I do with everybody is like, okay, now go live your life. Go live your life as best you can. And every time you get symptoms, just write down what you were doing. Okay, so, okay, yesterday I got, and I'm making stuff up right now, but like, okay, I'm walking. Text, I got a text message, and then I got diarrhea. Okay, who was that text message from? Okay, it's from the girlfriend. Or from mom. Who's it from? And then as throughout the week, you're going to have like a list of like 20 things, and you're going to start to see a pattern. Oh my God, all these text messages triggers, they're all from, my mom. Huh. How is my mom related to the conflict? Oh man, I remember I had another flare when I was little, and I got bad grades, and my mom took away all my video games. I wanted to digest my video games, but I couldn't. These are the types, and then next time you text your mom, you're probably not going to have symptoms. If you still have symptoms, then we still didn't identify what that thing was. We just need to, you're like literally one thought away from putting your gut in and out of overdrive. Some of you are still going to be in the conflict. Some of you are still going to be in that stressful relationship that you can't get out of. And what does somebody do in that situation? It's like, hey, like, you need to start designing your life to be more pleasant. But it's amazing how much symptom relief you can get just by doing this exercise, finding your conflict reminders. And when you start to do this, when you start to do these two things, you see how ridiculous it is to blame things like dairy and gluten and bread. Yes, there's better things. Well, actually, there's not much better things to eat than grains and dairy. And hey, before you go, oh, what are you talking about? I'm going to close this book. Do not listen to any dietary information from anybody. I don't care if they're carnivore, vegan, vegetarian. They do GAPS, they do specific. Do not listen to anybody's dietary advice unless they have read this book. It goes over the true ancestral diet. They ate grains with every meal, or some sort of starch. They ate dairy if their environment allowed it. If they lived on the sea, they ate a lot of seafoods. If they lived out in the meadows, they ate, they had their animals on pasture and they're eating most nutrients. If you just put all the foods side by side and you look to where the nutrients are, most of them are in animal products and in starchy plant foods. And then you have fruits, and then you have fibrous vegetables. And they have their place, but they're not nutritious. They do bring some nutrients to the table. Fruits are a great source of energy, vitamin C and potassium, but what has the phosphorus and the calcium, the main building blocks of the body, the protein, are the grains, the starches, the tubers, dairy, and meat, and especially organ meats and eggs. That's where most of the nutrition is, and there are a lot of rabbit holes in the holistic community where grains are bad. Oh, only 100% grass-fed meat, so they can't have grains. Are you stupid? Grains are grass. It doesn't make any sense. Like it's so funny. Like I remember when the first time I called the farmer I was like gonna get raw milk from, and I was like, "Are the cows 100% grass-fed?" And they're like, "Honey, do you know that grain is grass?" Like what the hell kind of a question? I know like everybody and their mom is asking this stupid question nowadays, but like, here, watch this YouTube video and you'll understand like how stupid this 100% grass-fed movement is. It's more feasible with meat cattle, but at the end of the day, like I grew up, or you know, my grandparents, they grew up on dairy farms. They live in northern New York, where it used to be all dairy farms up here, and so you have to, throughout the winter you have to feed them grass. You can't feed them fresh pasture because it's all under snow. And I might even be wrong, but there might be ways to do that because they can dig under the snow to get the grass. So the grass starts as a grain. This, I don't know how many. I want to do a video at some point where I showed like the life cycle of grass. Guys, it might seem like I'm rambling, but these rambles that I'm having are slowly undoing these crazy psychotic holistic beliefs that are putting our gut in and out of overdrive. People think that there's like freedom in the holistic movement, and I agree. You should eat organic, you should avoid pesticides. Those things are bad, but they're not causing your Crohn's, IBS, colitis. There's this idea that it's this tired, overworked from eating hard to digest foods and toxins in the foods. If that were true, there would be way more people with digestive issues in this country. I'm not saying there's a difference between these very subtle statements that I'm making. Not all, like, people will just dismiss what I'm saying when stress causes, well, this person's really stressed out and they don't have gut issues. It's wrong. We don't know how the subconscious mind is interpreting our life. I don't even know how my subconscious mind, and I've been studying this stuff for a while. We don't know until Elon Musk can put a chip in our head and somehow read those thoughts. Oh, that's a bunch of crap. You make me sick to my stomach. I could just think about a lemon right now and imagine it, and my taste buds start to water. And there's not even a lemon in this house right now. That's the power of thoughts. Our thoughts, our brain controls our whole body. Oh, the brain's the second gut. The gut is the second brain. That is only true if somebody has their head up their butt. The gut is a slave to the brain. The brain controls everything in our body. The gut is not the second brain. It's dumb. Just stupid to say something like that. There's no brain down there. Yes, it might have a lot of nerves because there needs to be a lot of... The nerves just send signals. The nerves just send information. Yes, there's a lot of nerves because they're sending a lot of information back and forth, but it doesn't mean it's a brain. It doesn't mean it thinks. It doesn't mean it processes this information. This all started with a conflict, shock. What was that shocking moment that put your gut into overdrive? That is like your number one thing to do right now. Not blame food, find the conflict shock, write down when you get symptoms. Learn German New Medicine, watch my channel, unfollow the holistic nut bags. Start learning the Weston A. Price and like what this really, you don't need this. If you want to eat healthy, sure, read this book. But like, this is what you need to do, and it will take your brain a little while to, make this shift. Some of you, it's going to be really fast. Oh, I've only had symptoms for a year or 6 months. Super fast. You should be able to remember this. For me, I've had digestive issues since I was a kid. So, there's still a few things that I'm unraveling. But, when I started to do this very poorly, very poorly, I gained 30 pounds within the first 3 months or something like that. I was like, one day as a kid, like one day I hope I weigh 175 pounds. Now I would be alarmed if I weighed 175 pounds. I was usually like 150, 160. Now I weigh 210, 200. I probably should be around the 190 range if I get back into the gym. It's caused by stress. The other doctors of old knew it. You just need to start finding it. You don't have to do these radical changes in your life. Sometimes it can help. You have a bad relationship, fix the relationship or get out of it. Your job's stressful, find another job. But a lot of the time in that process, you just take your crap perception and you project it onto a new good job, and your symptoms, don't do anything. Or your symptoms get really bad when you get the new job because you're resolving the conflict. So what's really happening is our gut is developing extra gut cells to help us digest and absorb this hard to digest thing, whether it's money. This is so bad, guys. I'm so sorry. I will have a whiteboard in like the next couple of days, but I literally can't like talk and point at stuff, with my current setup. I'm really sorry. You can go watch my webinar. It's much more set up there. I have slides and pictures of all the stuff that I'm squawking about right now. But this is what you need to do. Get out a piece of paper or use your phone. Just start writing down when you get diarrhea. What are you really sad and depressed about when you're constipated? What do you want to hold on to but you can't? And just newsflash, like not all of these things will make you angry. When I drank a cappuccino, I wasn't like, oh, I remember her. No, I was just drinking a cappuccino, I get diarrhea. I'm like, what? Why do I have diarrhea? I'm not afraid of baby food. I'm not afraid of coffee. I can have the two separate. What is going on here? Another friend, and just making that connection stopped it. Another friend, he would react to pizza. He could have cheese, he could have tomato sauce, he could have wheat and bread by itself. Pizza, instant diarrhea. Why? Because when he was in college, he didn't have a lot of money. He went out for pizza with his friends, and he paid for it. And so he was like, okay, the leftovers are mine. They're my leftovers. And he had a friend who was like, he like took the leftovers without asking, and it was like super rude, and it was a big deal. Like, I know that sounds stupid, but it was a big deal to him at the time. Those are the connections we need to start making instead of opening up grain brain and going, oh my God, wheat has an extra chromosome. I talk to people from, like Scandinavia and Ukraine, and, like the Scandinavians, I use this example of like, what do you think your ancestors in Valhalla would say? When they hand you meat or they hand you a beer or an ale and you're like, oh, I'm gluten tolerant. They'd be like, get out of Valhalla right now. Go. Afraid of ale. What's wrong with you? Ukrainians afraid of grain. It's on your frickin' flag. Christians afraid of wheat, the body of Christ. Freaking insane. It's insane. It's insanity. Oh, milk's bad for you, and I'm going to go to church on Sunday. That little book that you're supposed to be reading says that it's approved in the Bible. Oh, well, they had hormones and all this stuff. Yeah, okay, drink the organic stuff then. Tell me why everyone else is eating the non-organic stuff and they're fine. They're fine. They're much healthier than you. Even though you're walking through these holistic hoops and walking this and that tightrope, take off the holistic horse blinders and start looking around. Your gut issues, they started with a traumatic event. Put your gut into overdrive. Not every traumatic event is going to put an organ into overdrive. We don't know how our subconscious mind processes this stuff. Write down the list. Make a timeline. Stop blaming food. And start to see the connections into when you're triggered. And if you want a more organized presentation of this, go watch my webinar. If you want my 13-day plan where I really walk you through this process, sign up for my 13-day protocol. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.